to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'll call the meeting to order. Everybody had a chance to look at the agenda. I'll entertain a motion for approval of the agenda.
Mr. Vice President, I move to approve and adopt the agenda.
I second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the agenda. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, presentation and approval of the minutes. Has everybody had an opportunity to look at the minutes? Or is there anything, motion to approve the agenda, the minutes?
Mr. Vice President, I move that we approve the minutes.
Been moved and seconded to approve the minutes. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Public forum. The Board of Education welcomes public comments during the district portion of the school board meeting agenda. All comments must be related to the topic on the agenda for that particular meeting. The public comments section of the agenda will be only time the board asks for any questions or comments from the public unless we, as a board, choose to solicit more information from a person or a group attending the meeting on matters specific to the agenda. There's no question for public forum. Superintendent's report, Mr. Maestas.
Good evening, members of the board. I'd like to start off my report by reporting about our Power Schools cybersecurity incident that we were notified back, I think it was January 9th, that Power School, which is our system that we use to house all our student data and staff data and so forth, may have been breached, and so we were kind of like just on standby until Power School tells us something. But I think Justin can give us more information on it because he's the one been dealing with it. So,
You want me to talk about it?
Chair, please.
Okay. Like Mr. Maestas said, basically we were informed by Power School. They had a high-level account get compromised, and essentially that account had access to everything because it was one of their support channel accounts. So it had access to all databases that Power School hosts, which is what they do for us, as well as databases that people hosted locally, so even if it was on their own server at their schools. Essentially, there's not a ton I can say. It's very similar to kind of what happened to us this summer. We got to wait for the process to work itself out and then go through the proper legal channels and notifications and different things if our school has to do that. We don't know yet. The 17th is when.
The 17th is when they said that Power School would release some kind of a statement telling districts what if they're, you know, the severity of the incident and so forth, and if our data was compromised or not. And based on our insurance lady that we talked to for the other one, we haven't put anything out because she told us that we shouldn't put anything out until we know for sure that our information was compromised. And if it comes to happen that it was, then we'll go ahead and send something out to the public, to our staff and everybody, let them know what possibly could be out there. But you know, there's districts that have already put something out there, but I think it's like the lady said, they may have jumped the gun. We need to make sure that Power School says yes for sure. They're the ones that would tell us, and then after that, then we take whatever measures we need to. And then Power School will also provide us the correspondence that we may need to send out. But before I send them out, I will always run them through our attorneys to make sure that the wording is the way it should be, and so forth. So it's just like a hurry up and wait right now, and wait for them to tell us what's going on.
It is, and if there's a good side to it, with our change from Power School, we did not load our old data from our old campuses, SISs, which would have been Infinite Campus and JMAC. So if our data is compromised, student and or staff information, it would only be the past 4 years. Not that that's fantastic, but it's better than it being 30 years worth of people or something like that. Another positive side is we do not store child or the kids' socials, right?
We do not.
So that's a benefit. If our data is compromised, the students, at least their social security number would not have been compromised or downloaded by the bad guys, so to speak. So it's kind of where we're sitting is waiting. It's a super high level attack, unfortunately, that affected not only the United States, but like 19 other countries, I think, something along those lines. So it's kind of crazy. Yeah, it's huge.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Then the next thing I wanna go on to, we had the Kaiser teachers approach us, last semester about possibly going back into a self-contained classroom. We looked at all the options, we tried to get everything done. When it's all said and done, it couldn't be done based on legalities and so forth. And here again, the ones that, brought this to our attention was Justin and Cassie because of some of the stuff. You guys go through stars and stuff like that? Also?
Yep.
Licensing and so forth. So with that in mind, we are gonna have to leave Kaiser as is for the remainder of the year. I don't know if you guys wanna share more of what, or if you have questions, we can try to answer them.
It comes down to licensing, that's it. The wanting to move what they wanted to move, person didn't have the license and we couldn't get a,
She couldn't legally do it.
Yeah.
Essentially is what it all boiled down to. It wasn't like confidence in anybody or anything like that. Just we couldn't put our school in a gray area. We needed to stay in that black and white.
Like a certification type issue.
Yes, that's exactly what it was. And a lot of it has to do with Kaiser being classified as an elementary versus like a middle school or something like that. But we just didn't have the personnel with the proper certifications to make that happen this semester, so.
Is that something we're gonna focus on in the future?
Well, yeah, you're gonna have to, probably go back to the way it was, cause that's what it's there, it's obvious because they're a spotlight school, so my recommendation this coming school year is that you go back to the way it was, hire an extra, probably gonna need 2 elementary teachers there, because from what I understand, one might be retiring and the other one probably won't be, doing that again, so, that's something that I believe the district needs to look at and going back to that.
Okay.
And then, I know that Justin's been working on the new phone system to update and so forth, so, he can provide you, an update more or less where you're at with it.
Okay, so you guys probably have been getting information on it from Mr. Maestas. I honestly feel bad for him because I told him, I think it was around Thanksgiving, I was like, yeah, it'll be in this weekend, and I fully thought it would. Came in, tested, did not work out the way I had intended. Unfortunately, you can't do everything through the GUI interface, so I found out that I had a lot of programming on the switches to get done. I have officially finished all of the programming on all of the new switches, so they're ready to go. The next step is essentially what we have right now is the high school has 2 networks. People don't see it because nobody's on the second network except for myself. It's been tested, the phones work on the secondary network. The hard part about this is it's not summertime and I can't kick everybody off, put the new one on, test it, make sure it's robust, everything's working. So I have to try to find time where I can bring it all down. Nobody's here, go through all of the tests and things that I need to do to make sure that we're ready to jump onto that next one. I was gonna do that over Christmas break. Life happened and it just didn't work out that way. The other part of it with the phones are the last piece to that puzzle. The phones are actually really, really easy to do. I had those working a long time ago, but to get the new Fortinet switches, phone systems and everything on, and for those phones, it's gonna require cutting our current phone cables and then repinning them, because the way that they come into the phone system's totally different. So the problem that gives you is, if I think I'm 100% ready and I don't do all the proper testing and I cut those, and we go in and for some reason we need to go back, now we're in a hard spot, because I'm gonna have to figure out how to repin and stamp all those back in, and that part of it's not really my expertise, so to speak. So I'm trying really hard to make sure that I'm 110% certain this is going to work and that there's no issues, because I can't have the schools down phone time for a week while I'm trying to troubleshoot like I could do in the summer or something. But we're getting there very quickly. And then I kind of shifted gears. I had really focused on high school. Now my focus is Alvis, because I have more phone problems over there. And then it's also a much smaller network in comparison to the network at the high school. So now that all the switches are programmed, the next step, I'm putting those switches in, make them work with the environment that we have now, and then I'll slowly start rolling it over to the new network. So it's coming soon. I've kind of learned foot and mouth, so to speak, not to give exact dates, because that never seems to work out. So I'll just say it's gonna be real soon. But there's a lot of work that's been done on it, so we're getting there.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, a little bit of an update on the high school fire panels. I talked to Jessica just the other day. She basically tells me the main campus is more or less all done, wired up and so forth. They're gonna be working on getting the panels hooked up and so forth. After that, they're gonna need to run all the wiring out to the other buildings that are outlying buildings that aren't connected to the high school. So she's projecting somewhere in the middle of March for it to be completely done. So they are moving along, but like I said, the high school is a little bit more complicated than the Alvis was, and it'll be a lot more complicated than the junior high. Speaking of the junior high, the application that I submitted to the Public School Capital Outlay Council did get approved. So they're gonna give us 37% of the cost to get the fire panels at the junior high in. So that's roughly a little over $200,000 that was approved for us, and of course we have to come up with the 63% match. And so I've already had Elise call me, and we've already signed the letter of award and so forth. So it's just a matter of going through and getting everything approved so that we can hopefully get those fire panels going also. Ms. Kiesling and I attended the Special Ed Academy this last week in Bernalillo. It was done by Dr. Cage. She's the new designee for special education, and she had some very interesting guest speakers. The first day she had a young man that was autistic and partially blind, and he was our guest speaker, and it was a little different, but it got the message across. And then the last day she had Dr. Tate from, I believe, was somewhere in Georgia, and she had us in there all day long, and she kept us pretty well engaged. So there was really good information. I know Ms. Kiesling really enjoyed the opportunity to be there and getting all that info that we did get. So it was very productive. July 21st, I will be going to Raton to attend our quarterly RDC meeting with the area superintendents. I do that every quarterly. And then on February 18th through the 20th, Mr. Howard, Ms. Gaither, and myself will be attending the Safe School Summit in Bernalillo there at the Santa Ana. So that is all I have. If there's any questions of me, please ask.
Is there any update or anything with PSFA and the old junior high? Anything going on with it?
They're just moving along. They're doing what they gotta do. I believe I don't know if I put in one of the board reports or the last board report. They're looking into moving the boiler first. Of course, that's probably not gonna happen until after we get through all the cold months. And then the projection that we get from the contractors are gonna try to bring that down in the summertime when no one's around. So hasn't changed, it's gonna be basically the same, but I do
But
know
they could do it all in the summertime?
they should be able to do it all in the
Nice.
summertime. So, but, like I said, there's a lot of little things that they have to go through. They've had guys out here inspecting, doing some things, seeing what, you know, what's what, and, but the first order of business it has to be is that boiler has to be moved over to this other side. And once that's done, then they can bring it down, so.
Nice.
But that's the timing for that one.
Thank you.
Ms. Gaither? Oh, Ms. Donovan.
You can skip me. Okay.
No, you can go ahead and let her go, please.
Good evening, members of the board. All right, let's see. For Aldis, current enrollment for us is 144 students. Last board meeting, I promised you I would go over our middle of year data for iReady. So our iReady, that's diagnostic testing. We do 3 times a year, beginning, middle, and end. Speaking with my staff, we decided, you know what, let's do it before Christmas break, before we kind of hit that Christmas break slump and things like that. So I know you probably have these 2 data charts in your board packet. Is that reading first, Cassie, or is that's math?
That's math.
Okay, so looking at our iReady math, this report right here is our diagnostic growth. Right here, report, and so if you see, on the left side, it says progress towards annual typical growth. So 62% of our students, and we test kindergarten through 4th grade, have already made that growth middle of year that would take them typically a school year to grow. So 62%, and this is in math. That's what that blue area is. On the other side, that shows that grade level placement. So if you see that 6% there on that, so beginning of year, we had 0% students test mid or above grade level. That went up to 6%. So 6% of our student body tested mid or above grade level. The next one, 16% is early on grade level. We started at 1% beginning of the year, we bumped up to 16%. The yellow is 1 grade level below, which you see that's a large majority of our student body. Beginning of year, that was 71%, that decreased to 61%, and that's what we wanna see. We wanna see the yellow get smaller and the green get bigger. And then on the red, we have 2 grade levels below, which was 13%. Beginning of the year, that was 17%. So that has decreased. And then the 3 or more grade levels below, we began at 12% beginning of the year, and that's decreased to 4%. So it's trending the right way. And growth is growth. And so for math, these kiddos and the amazing staff that I have, they're really helping these kiddos to make those gains for math.
Awesome.
Okay?
You
And
guys
then-
see? Oh, sorry
No,
about
you're
that.
good. No.
And then for the reading one, Cassie?
It's like you're asking an awful
Ah.
lot tonight.
Sorry.
No, you're fine.
That's not helping over here. And looking at middle of year for reading, so on the left side, 57% K through 4th graders have already made that, what you would normally grow within a year's time. So still, 57% of our student body, they've hit that annual. Now we're looking at that stretch growth. How much more can we go above that on there? Same on the other side, trending in the right direction. Mid or above grade level, we started out the year with 3%, 16% now have scored mid or above. Early or on grade level, we started at 16%, that's jumped up to 23%. So making some good gains there. 1 grade level or below, we started at 57%, that's decreased to 40%. 2 grade levels below, we started at 16%, that's decreased to 14%. And then the 3 or more grade levels below, at the beginning of the year, we were testing 9%, and now we're at 7. So we're seeing the good trend there, and so our kiddos are working hard, and our teachers are doing a great job in that.
Awesome.
Any questions on the data piece? All right, let me see. Some upcoming events. Well, first I have a little news. I don't know if you saw it on my Facebook post. So Elvis is working on a library revamp project. I have a wonderful library committee who's really invested in helping. We also have a former teacher, Mrs. Gina Polk. She's part of our library committee from the community to help out with that. We received an Innovation in Schools education grant from Plateau for a total of $3,506. And so a big thank you to Mrs. Wells and Mrs. Doherty for taking the time to apply for that grant. And those funds will be utilized for new books, flexible seating. We're gonna get like a library check-in, check-out system, a computer in there just to make that space usable and functional for our students and for our kiddos. So that was really good news that we got that. Let's see. We're doing our school store fundraiser. I don't know if you've seen that floating around, if you've got random emails from like, Mr. Barnes has. Because the more emails you get, the bigger chance you get for prizes. There's different ways to donate. You can donate gift cards to classroom teachers. You can purchase from online merchants and we get a percentage of that. Or there's little different things you can purchase on the school store. Like there's magazine subscriptions and kind of other items. So we're doing that. Our second 9 weeks honor roll awards ceremony will be this Friday in the Elvis cafeteria at 12:30, and we'll be doing that. Daycare certification, we got our cribs. The day I got the notice that they were gonna be shipped, Mr. Meises called me and said, come get all these cribs. So we received 8 cribs and then some like other shelving and things, and those were all donated from a nonprofit. So I'm gonna be reaching out to Kim Legant and ensuring that I tell the proper people thank you for that. And she did ask me about that shade structure that we're still working to get. I'm needing to work with Tim on that to see what maintenance can do for us, because it's gonna be a project that we can get funded, but maintenance is gonna have to put it up, and I know they're really busy. So, but we're making progress there too. Any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Gaither.
Nope, you already called me, no, good evening. We can just go on to him, no, good evening, members of the board. Kaiser enrollment is at 60, junior high is at 58, it like goes back and forth constantly between those two. The total is 118. We have an award ceremony also on Friday for the second 9 weeks, but ours is gonna be at 10 in the gym at the junior high. We are going to be having a fundraiser kickoff on the 30th, and they're gonna come in and do it like live. And it's gonna be for the cookie dough and the hometown cravings, which we're excited about, and then we can use some of that money to fund field trips at the end of the year for Kaiser. Because Zach and I know that earlier in the year I talked to you all about family income index money that we had received, I think it's like $21,000. We really weren't for sure exactly how to use this money. And after talking to Mr. Neff at Santa Fe, he gave us some really good ideas. And they'll pay for field trips.
Cool.
But the only problem is, not problem, the only stipulation is it's my 7th and 8th graders. So it's just for the junior high, which, not a bad thing, it's a great thing, because sometimes kids at that age don't get to do the things because they're not in elementary anymore. So after talking with my junior high teachers, they had some really good ideas for really big educational field trips, like, and I cannot say the word, there's a live interactive museum.
Golondrinas.
That's it, in Santa Fe, outside of Santa Fe. Okay, I can't say the word, I'm sorry, you know.
Can't say anything.
Anyway,
Golondrinas.
Yeah, I could.
there you go, can't get the tongue to work like that, but anyway, my 7th graders, because there is Mexico history, we're gonna take the 7th graders to that in April. Today, we just got one about the powwow in Albuquerque. They call it
Gathering of
Native
Nations.
Americans together. So we were talking after school, maybe both groups will be able to go to that one. But we're really looking at educational things to get them outside of just like New Mexico.
Cool.
Also, they will do, like family engagement nights. And like if we have like a game night, for example, they told us like Scrabble. Because then like they can buy every child that comes, they can take a Scrabble game home with them. So, and they'll pay for like, we can even use it to like, because I know sometimes we have a hard time getting people to help with some things. They'll pay stipends to get people to come in and work it. So it's $21,000, which I didn't think it would be hard to spend $21,000, but it kind of is. But anyway, we're working on it. So I'm excited about that. And my junior high teachers are super excited. They are really excited to be able to take kids on these trips. And there's another one that we're looking at is the Roundhouse, but it's only gonna be, because that's a big deal. There's gonna be like 15 7th and 8th graders that are picked by the history teacher who's with them all day long. And we're gonna try and get them up there in February sometime to be able to go to the legislative and see it.
Cool.
So we're super excited about that.
That is cool.
Huh? If possible, we're gonna try and do a baseball game, like sod poodles.
All right, cool.
They said they award, like, they're super big on attendance and enrollment, so they said, we came up with the idea, like, if they have perfect attendance by the end of the year, they can go to a sod poodles game, they cover the gas, they cover the driver, they cover everything but food.
Cool.
So that's where the fundraising money's gonna come in handy to help cover the food for the junior high kids, but for the other kids, because there's two separate fundraisers, we gotta do the Kaiser and then the junior high, so. But anyway, so I'm excited about that, and the teachers are super excited, like, all of my junior high teachers are so, I was like kind of nervous, because teachers aren't always so excited about field trips, I'm just saying. And they were really like, man, that's good, and they gave great ideas on where we could go, so.
Great.
Even like rewarding kids for good scores and stuff, so, anyway. I will go over data, sorry.
What do you want first?
Start with Kaiser, is that reading or math?
Math.
Yeah, read, okay. So, it's like 62%, like she said, are already met, like their year, not that they can't still keep showing growth, but at least 62% have met it. And this is in Kaiser, so this is just 5th and 6th grade. At the beginning of the year, we had 7% that were at the mid or above grade level. 7, and now we've jumped up to 17, which is really good. That next one, there were 15, and that's gone down to 12, but I think some of those 15 went to the other one, which is not horrible. For the 1 grade level below, we had 31, and we're now at 37, but the 1 grade level below, or 2 grade levels below, they were at 22, and they're just at 20. So they're going up just little steps at a time. The 3 years or below, they were at 25, and now they're at 14, which is better because we want them all out of that one. So, they're just going gradually, which is what we want.
That's a big jump, though.
Yeah, it just
Make
needs to grow.
Make mine bigger.
And that's always been this way.
For reading, 47% have already met square within that year's growth. At the beginning, we had 14 that were at mid or above grade level, and now we have 15. We had early on grade level, there were only 10%, now we're at 14. The 1 grade level below, we were at 25, and we went to 34, but again, the red decreased. So the 2 grade levels below, they were at 25, and now they're at 14. And the 3 grade levels below, they were at 25, and they only went to 21, 24, which is 1%, but growth is growth, and they're still trying to get out of that red. Which one did she pick now?
Junior high math.
Thank you. It's a guessing game. I'm just kidding. 54% of our kids in 7th and 8th grade math have already made that year's gain. At the beginning of the year, we only had 2% at that mid or above grade level, which now we have 9%, which is good. Early on grade level, there were 14, now we're at 19. 1 grade level below, they were at 28, and now they're at 24. 2 grade levels below, they were at 10, and now they're at 16, but on that last one, we were at 45, and we've dropped down to 33. So that's a really good jump for there, and then they just went up to at least just 2 grades instead of 3 below, which, again, growth is growth. Reading, we're a little low. 14% have made where they should be in for the year's growth. 14% were met or mid or above grade level, and now there's 16. Early grade level, there were 16, now there's 19. The one grade level below, they were at 17, and they're still at 17. Two grade levels below, they were at 14, and now they're at 7. And three grade levels below, they were at 40, and they kind of went up to 41%. Sometimes kids at this age, it's just really, really, really hard to get them to try and do what they're truly capable of. You know, I mean, you can sit there and reward them, you can do whatever, and if they don't have that push to do, I mean, by this point, I think they're kind of over with the whole already, which I'm sad to say. And two, they also have semester finals as well during this time period. So, I mean, they have semester finals which affect their grades, so. But do you guys have questions or concerns?
Is this junior high?
This is junior high. I-ready is not a part of their grade. You know, and
So these kids were home for COVID.
Do you
and they
think-
lost my one to read.
I hear what you're saying about junior high kids trying on the I get it completely. But do we think we need to try something new with the reading instruction, or, you hear what I'm asking, like?
I understand what you're saying, and I mean, the programs that she's doing there, I mean, they're doing really well on them. It's just sometimes, I'm just gonna tell you, kids on this, by this age, 8th graders, 7th graders, they're just gonna go in and start punching. They're tired of taking, because you think they started in what grade?
Kindergarten.
By kindergarten. This is 8 years of taking the same thing over and over and over. I mean, I'm not trying to make excuses for it, and we all know how kids are. Mostly this age, trying to get them to see the importance of something is not always the easiest.
Understood. You think they can read better than this reflects?
Oh, yeah,
So like their
Definitely.
English scores are good?
their English scores are not like this.
Okay.
I mean,
They're not like all
No.
flunking English?
no, they are not all flunking English. No, they are not.
Okay.
Was it growth or decline?
There was growth, just not tons of growth. I mean, there was some growth, I mean.
I understand how junior high kids probably don't care about an I-ready test, they've
They
taken it
don't.
years in a row. It's hard to be like, you can get a candy if you do well, they're like, yeah.
You know, honestly,
I
and you
have
say
zits on
that,
my
but it's
face.
like really hard to get them to really care.
Yeah.
As much as we tried, and then I even told them, good job. I even used that, I was like, if y'all show growth, like, and unfortunately I found out about this after this, or I could have really used that. But, you know, I mean, I told them, I said, guys, if we show growth, I'm all for growth, you know, let's just show that we're doing better. And I do know that like some of these kids, I know that one of them that had scored like an 11th grade level, beginning of the year, super smart, she had been like crazy sick, came in and took it, and she dropped drastically. I do know that much. So I mean, and you don't know what's going on in these kids' lives when they come in and take this test, and it's a day, 2 days, and then they're done. And they may be like, oh, if I punch, I'm done, and I don't have to worry about anything more.
It's
So,
always been that way.
excuse me?
It's always been that way.
And yeah, you don't know what kids are going through at home either. All the time.
So, do you guys have any questions on that? Okay.
No.
On to sports. Last night, they played, Guyman. They played hard, we just lost every game. That's just all there is to it. But they played hard throughout the whole time, they never quit. Saturday, they play Cimarron. And then Monday, we go to Guyman there. And then the following Monday, against Des Moines will be our last junior high game, and it will be at home. And I did have to cancel the 2 Maxwell games because they only have 1 team. So,
So Guyman came here and then y'all are going there?
yes, because we were supposed to go to Guyman last week. Was it last week?
No, they're supposed to come here.
Yeah, they were supposed to come here last week, that's right, and then the snow down south happened, so I canceled. And, well, they canceled, they rescheduled it, well, actually, we didn't even know when we were gonna be able to reschedule it. And then Maxwell I called Maxwell on Monday to confirm games, and they're like, I only have one team. Called Guyman Monday, and I said, can y'all come tomorrow? And they were like, okay, so they came yesterday, and they were
Nice.
the one that they had to cancel.
That's cool.
Thank you.
Y'all's last junior high game is when?
January 27th, it's on a Monday.
Mr. Howard.
Okay, Mr. Vice President, members of the board. Couple of things. First of all, the candy thing, yeah, we can't entice them with candy when they carry bags of candy with them everywhere. It's not special, you're right. Our lovely ladies here are so focused on the future. I'm so excited about that, but they forgot to mention this amazing visit they have from this really cool Santa Claus to their campuses.
Oh, Lord.
It's
Drops
really
the ball
neat.
there.
Class, you was kidding.
What are you
Ungrateful.
talking about?
Ungrateful.
I had to toot my horn. Anyway, okay. Our enrollment, 321, kind of hovering about the same. Our iReady testing we did this week. We're finishing up any of those absent kids that we missed. We wanted to wait until after finals. We wanted to focus on that. And, you know, and she's talking about how hard it is. All I hear from them high school kids, I'm just gonna click and go. And so what we did last time for the results, the freshman class, you know, looked like they performed much better, so I got them ice cream and root beer floats, and I gave them a period off, and we just had a period of playtime and floats. And so I said, y'all remember I did that the winning grade, will get the same thing, so it gave me some effort. I don't expect the seniors to give any effort, and honestly, their scores are not the ones we're more focused on, the ones that we need to see where they're at, and so that's what I want to focus on. But we'll have the results by the February board meeting. So also our attendance, since I'm heavily focused on attendance, February 12th is day 120, and we want to get some big prizes. And I'm telling you, I was standing in the office talking to Sandra, and we talked about something. All of a sudden, this great idea came up for that day to have everybody there. And I can't remember what it was. And I asked her, can she remember? We can't. So if I come up with it, I'll let you all know. But it was a great idea to get everybody there, and I can't remember what it was. So, but we're always working on that. We're out to try and get some prizes from the community to give raffle drawings throughout the day to make sure that those students that are there realize we appreciate it. I've started, yes, candy. I've started graduation preparations as well. You know, we're making sure that our seniors are on track. Mr. Funk's working really hard there. He's getting a lot of help from those around him that help. We're such a good team. And so we're just getting there so that it doesn't surprise me when it comes to May. Still in the fire watch like Mr. Mize just mentioned. Semester grades were sent out on Friday, and so, you know, there were only a few little glitches with that, and so we had some grade change forms, but I think we got through it pretty well. Athletics, for football, we had, I think I had about 12 people show interest. I had 7 apply, 8 apply. I'm sorry, I was counting the 7 that I sent y'all. So we had 8 applications. We looked at them to narrow them down to 4. So we'll have those interviews on February 7th. So hopefully we can make a decision on that day. We had them from New Mexico, Florida, Oklahoma, Kansas. Yeah. So we had them from all over.
Missouri. Was it Missouri? I only had taught in Missouri at one point.
Right. So we tried to get as big of a pool we could. I think we have some quality candidates that we're going to be interviewing, so let's hope it does turn out that way. For our basketball season, the girls have started season 5 and 9. They're doing a great job, suffering through injuries, lack of numbers. They're doing a fantastic job. I see, nothing but great energy, just like we did in volleyball. The girls are just, you know, fantastic group of young ladies. Our boys are too. They've started season now 9-5. We dropped, I think, rankings to number 7, but that's not gonna mean much until we get there anyway. We're starting our district play. We have one last game this Friday night at Cimarron is our last out-of-district game. And then we start our district, the first one will be the 23rd of January in Santa Rosa. And then our homecoming week is next week. I dropped off a thing of our activities for the week for the high school. And so the game will be that Saturday against Estancia, the 28th. I think that's all.
Estancia is in our district. Who else
Yes.
is in our district?
Raton.
Pecos, Tucumcari,
Pecos, Tucumcari.
Santa Rosa.
Yes. So,
Thank you.
That's a long way.
It is.
I'm positive they gotta come to us.
I was gonna say.
That road goes both ways.
But that Saturday game will be like, it starts early, doesn't it, for homecoming too?
And it's positive it's on a Saturday.
still problem.
Great, thank you.
Thank you very much. Board Communications, Dr. Linda Paul and Tom Sullivan, Superintendent Search.
Mike, if you will unmute, so you can talk to them. And maybe turn on your camera.
Turn out too, because I think she's talking.
She is.
You've got it muted on there.
The speakers might be off.
Say something to her, Mike.
Hello? Can you hear me? She can hear us.
I can't.
Talk for us again, please.
Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, good, good. Well, we've had a lot of activity since the last time we saw you, which was just a week ago. Ooh, okay. You never know. Anyway, we have, I hope before you are the ad for the superintendent position and the timeline for our work together and the application. And so that was all sent to you guys, to the board and to Casey, and we have launched the community survey as of today. And so super big thanks to Justin and to Casey for doing all of that work. They made it happen like that. So hopefully we'll start getting some results back in from the community. And as soon as we do, we'll start compiling that and have that ready for you at our next meeting. So with that being said, we're still on schedule. We're ready to go with the application and the marketing piece, hopefully a week from Monday. I also have big kudos for your yearbook teacher, who was able to send me a sample of the marketing plan that the students came up with, or the marketing piece that the students came up with. So I need to do some tweaks on that. I have to add some stuff that I hadn't gotten to the teacher in time, because I was still working on it. So I have a few things to add to that document. And other than that, we're in really good shape, and look forward to launching, like I said, a week from Monday, and keeping track of our timeline and getting the work done. Any questions, input, concerns? Thank you to all of you who responded to me over the last couple of days with your ideas and suggestions. I tried to incorporate all of those in and get those together.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Great, thank you so much.
Any
All right.
questions?
You guys have any?
No questions.
Oh, I got a question.
Okay, hold on, we got one.
Question.
Okay.
I'll talk loud, but what do you think the total estimate would be, if you had to guess, just so I can fill out the PO,
Total estimate of,
the price? Cause on the
Oh.
quote, it just says 15, but then it adds a bunch of stuff in there, so I just wanted to be close as possible.
sure, absolutely. So we tend to do a fixed price contract, which is the 15. Any other expenses that we incur, like copying, if we can't get it done by the district, or postage, which hardly anybody uses postage anymore, that would be a flow through. Now, I do have to say that the board did want to, advertise in AASA, and so let me get you a better price on that. I believe it's between $600 and $700. So, and then another 50 for Colorado. So we're looking at, less than an additional 1,000. And of course, I will pay for those things up front. I'll save the receipts and then just ask for reimbursement when I send the first invoice for our services.
Awesome, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you, doctor.
You're welcome. Please call me Linda. All right. Have a successful rest of the meeting.
Thank you.
Bye now.
Bye.
You know you have nice people when they're like, please don't call me doctor. You know what I mean? So they're like,
I would be like, call me
you can
doctor.
call me doctor.
I
Oh
worked
yeah.
hard for that, you better call me
When I
like that.
finish-
I would change my first name.
I would be like, it is just doctor.
This is Linda.
I
Zach.
have no other dog. Yeah, it's just doctor.
Don't even throw my last name.
You'll be Dr. B.
Okay. Climate survey.
Members of the board, Mrs. Leal had sent out a link to a survey that was there. I shared with the administrators on a climate survey. And so we discussed it in our admin meeting, and I think that some of the administrators might have some questions or ideas on a climate survey. So I'll turn it over to them for any questions or comments they may have.
I think for my question was clarification on, for the climate survey, is this something where like building principals are sending this out to just our school sites? Or is this like an overall district survey? I know Mr. Howard actually had some really great input, Mr. Howard, about maybe how we could do the climate survey and including different groups.
Yeah, so what we talked about was, and then what I've seen in the past, is to do threefold surveys, one for the students, one for the community members or parents, and one for the staff. And the one thing that I noticed, the one she sent, we're all in consensus too, is for it to be truly anonymous, we can't have any demographics in there. Because a small district like this, when you say, like I said, I'm male and I teach special ed, we know who that is. So we have to, really be clear about that. But for it to be a true climate survey, we need to see the whole climate. Because we're only seeing one part of it. And to see, I would love to see what the students and what the parents and what the staff are saying. And then we can sit together and we can compare and we can work on what we can do to make it a better district through that. That's the way
I think that's great.
Yeah.
All three would be awesome.
I would like to just put some brakes on that for a little bit while we have our superintendent survey out. So
Sure.
parents aren't confused, but maybe have it ready to go.
That's a good point.
That's true.
That is a good point. But yeah, I definitely think, you're only getting the whole climate if you do it all. So like, if you're just doing the school, then you don't get anything else. If you're doing, so I would agree with that.
Because to be honest, and what we talked about is I have set up Google Forms that I like to send out to my staff so they can evaluate me at the end of the year. And I want them to tell me, hey, this is what we think, and it's okay for them to bash me, because it only goes to me anyway. And I'm not worried about it, and if I need bashing, then bash me, let me know. And I know some people are gonna say some things, and that's okay, because those are things I need to address. There's always room for improvement. But that's what I wanna do individually with my staff, is so I can communicate with them.
I think it's awesome.
And who all will be included in being evaluated? Is it just,
For mine, that I'm gonna send out individually to the high school, it'll be, for the staff here, we'll do my administrator side, and then the coaches will get one for my athletic side.
Great.
have you ever been around or heard of any where the board gets evaluated also?
Yes, and usually the way that works is there are questions involved in the climate survey that ask each party, you know, okay, does your board do this? Do you feel that your board does that, sort of things?
I would like for there to be those questions in there,
Yeah.
I mean,
Where it touches board administration.
yeah,
Right.
there's
Teachers,
totally
you know.
things that we can be better at.
If we're
also.
gonna do a climate survey, I think everybody associated with the school
Right.
needs to have some part of that.
And honestly though, if we're looking at it though with kids as well, I mean, sorry, but I don't know if our kinders and first are truly going to be, you know what I mean?
Right,
I mean,
right.
we're gonna have to think about, okay, are we gonna start with like second, are we gonna start with third, I mean, because they'll probably do about as well in that survey as, you know.
They're gonna say they love me.
They
and-
are, or if you made them mad that
Or if I
day,
made them mad that day.
because they're not liking you, you know,
Yeah.
I mean, 'cause they're just not, so, I mean, if we were thinking like starting with like second or third grade and then giving, and obviously her survey is gonna be different than what, even my fifth and sixth from junior high, and then his is gonna be way different.
Totally
but-
different demographics.
Yeah, that's a good point. No, I think we should all be evaluated,
Yeah,
you know what I mean, doesn't hurt anything.
always room for improvement.
Amen, it's always.
Okay, very good. Financial matters.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, members of the board. In your Google Drive, had a little trouble sharing it to you guys, I guess. I don't know what happened. But it's in there now. Hopefully you all can see it. And, good, Mr. Howard and Ms. Gaither. The athletic account is the highest it's been all year.
Way to
So we're
go,
doing good on that.
way to
And
go.
then, so I was gonna bring Mr. Howard and Ms. Gaither into this, but we were trying to do a teachers or student versus staff basketball game for a fundraiser. I think that'd be super good to get the whole community involved and do a huge concession stand and all that, so see what you guys wanna do about that. See if
Because
that's a
they're
good idea.
stacked, that's what he wants to do.
They gotta dunk, y'all gonna dunk all over those kids. I'm all for it.
Very fun, though. I think it'd be a good fundraiser and.
I'll play, I'll sit on the bench and eat popcorn, and then if like everybody's eyes all go in.
Does that seem like a workers' comp injury?
Yes.
We got injured.
We got one.
I think that's a great idea.
The last school I taught at, before I came here, they had a softball game at the end of the year, faculty against the team, and made a lot of money.
How much is that as a fundraiser?
Yeah, charge people to get in.
Do your
You can do-
concession.
I think it's awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
some concessions, I mean,
You can go to the companies around, have them donate, and
Sponsor.
you can sponsor a player, maybe bet on who makes the most points or something.
Not bad, not bad.
There's no betting allowed.
There might be like, there might be actually like live betting going on. Everybody's spitballing each other in the stands.
We're definitely not gonna do that.
I'm not saying that it's right, I'm just saying that there's a chance.
There'll probably be more of a bet of who's gonna die on the staff. than-
Yes.
Who's gonna go down first?
Yep.
Other than that, everything's been going pretty smoothly. If you guys have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Yes,
Thank
very
you,
much.
you're doing a great job. That's definitely the issue
I
with the
move
games.
to approve the financial report.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor of approving the financial report, say aye.
Aye.
Oh. Okay, motion passes. We will move to consideration approval of bars and transfers. There are none, so we'll skip that one. Action items. A, consideration approval of a resolution to approve a special election related to authorizing up to $4.9 million.
Wow.
Members of the board, I have Brad on the line, and he's ready to answer any questions if there's any discussion on this. And this is moving towards your bond election and so forth, so. Brad?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Maestas. Good to be with you all this evening. Brad Angst with Steeple Public Finance. We serve as the district's financial advisor. I'm also joined by Mr. Chris Muirhead of the Model Sperling Law Firm this evening. He's a bond counsel, a lawyer that specializes in bond work and help put together these resolutions for you this evening. We're here in front of you this evening with an election resolution. This is regards to the the items we've been talking to you about over the last several months. The amount of 4.9 million would be an amount sufficient to be able to access additional funds through PSFA and PSCOC to be able to leverage that for additional state matching dollars. This is the amount that we brought to you in December, been consistent there. So with consideration of this resolution, and I'll have Mr. Muirhead explain some of this here further, this simply puts it to your voters to make a decision. And we've outlined a date for that election to be in late April. So I believe it's April 22nd. So with your approval, y'all are simply calling for the election and allowing your voters to weigh in on if they want you to make these improvements and pursue some of these larger state matching funds. So let me pause there. I want to hand it off to Mr. Chris Muirhead to describe this resolution and quickly introduce himself. Chris?
Yeah, thanks, Brad. This is Chris Muirhead. I work for the Models Fertling firm, and as Brad indicated, my specialty is public finance, helping local governments with their borrowings and use of public money. And this is right down kind of the main street here of helping school districts issue or approve and issue general obligation bonds, which is permitted under state statutes. And a bond just being a form of a borrowing that you're familiar with. As Brad indicated, this resolution really just puts it in front of the voters. It requires a simple majority and authorizes a special mail ballot only election on April 22nd. The election will be run by the county clerk who will oversee everything. It is an expense of the district to have it, but it is a mail ballot only. It would authorize, if approved, 4.9 million in general obligation debt, which you could issue over the next 4 years, for capital improvements for your school facilities. These monies, of course, can't be used for, cannot be salaries and operations, but as Brad said, they also open the door for possible matching funds. So the resolution really just lays out in straightforward terms the statutory authority to do it. We are comfortable that you can do it if you like. The question is written in a way that provides maximum flexibility in terms of you identifying the capital projects you want to do, but yet still providing your voters an opportunity to see that you want to borrow $4.9 million in total for improvements and construction and equipping of your school facilities and grounds. Happy to answer any questions about it. Again, as Brad said, you're just authorizing submitting this to the voters who would vote yes or no, which is required before you can issue any general obligation bonds.
Thanks for that, Chris. So with that, members of the board, we'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Brad, we did discuss in Albuquerque when we met with you. Hi, this is Gus Wood. We had about the tax impact on how much it would be per month, and if I was correct, it was $7.22 a month per 100,000. I think is kind of what we kind of discussed, and it would be is it 48 cents a month per 150 acres?
Per quarter section, 160, I believe, is in a quarter section. For dry farmland, it's at 48 cents. Yes, sir.
Okay. And ranch land would be 9 cents?
Grazing range, yes, sir.
Sir. Okay. I want to have all that crystal clear for all those questions whenever we go to special meetings, and I don't want there to be any muddy waters whenever we're going to our community about this.
Absolutely. So the work doesn't stop here. If you all do decide to go take this to an election, let your voters vote on it, we, working with staff and with the board, would put together some informational flyers, so that your community, knows how the money's gonna be spent, and what it means to their bottom line as far as, impacting their taxes and tax rate. So, the amounts that you quoted are accurate. We worked with the county clerk and assessor, and did some of the calculations ourselves. So $7.22 per month for $100,000 of home value or commercial property value.
It's not even a pizza.
Is there an amount for irrigated farmland?
We do have that, as well. We presented that at last month's meeting. It's $1.44, $1.44 per quarter section.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great.
No more questions.
You guys have any questions?
Good.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Got it.
Hey,
There's a couple things I'd like to say before we go forward with that, if that's all right. I do think that, like, you know, so the junior high needs a new roof, right? So we discussed that. And it also needs an HVAC system, which I think would be awesome for a lot of reasons. And then, so with that, you know, I talked with Ms. Legant today about that, and she was talking about the bond and stuff, if we were gonna go for it, and I said, yeah, we're gonna try to get it done. And then she said, well, it's gonna take a lot of money to get that roof and the HVAC system out of that pool right away. And hopefully if we could get the match, I mean, who knows, like, maybe we could build a couple auxiliary gyms, like, you know, one for the Alvis, since your cafeteria is also your gym, which is also like your play day on weather days. You know, I think the junior high could use one, you know what I mean? They really use a field house. Anyway, I think every dollar that you spend on your kids, you get back tenfold, so that's my goal. So that being said, Mr. Vice President, I move that we approve the resolution of special election related to authorizing up to $4.9 million.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the resolution to approve a special board-related authorization up to $4.9 million. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion passes. We will have a special election related to the authorization of $4.9 million.
Can I have a question? I have a question. Sorry.
Well, I was just gonna ask Brad, is he still there? So next steps for us are what?
Well, we'll need to, get the documents back, that Mr. Muirhead in his office, so that we can file with the clerk. Next steps on your side, we recommend, putting some clear and concise, materials together, some flyers that talks about, the projects that we're doing, the new roof, the HVAC, really kind of come to a decision on, how you would spend this money if you're limited to the 4.9. And then also if, you know, we're able to get PSFA and PSCOC support, what the bigger projects may be. So we'll put that together, work with you on that. Look into the update of the facility master plan, and some of the projects there, and then start working in conjunction with the PSFA, really to build out a plan and see what kind of support you can get. So there's some initial materials that we want to get out as far as those projects and the tax impact, putting that on a flyer so that you can start getting it out to your community and they know what it means to them. And then work on a parallel path. We want to work on the facility master plan update and work with PSFA to talk about matching dollars.
I was wondering, I guess this question's for you, Mr. Maestas, about like getting quotes for stuff like this, so we can have like a ballpark of like how much that would cost, like how much like an HVAC system would cost, how much a roof would cost, how much an auxiliary gym at Aldous would cost, or, I mean, whatever, like, I think we gotta have to have like a ballpark idea of like how much all this is gonna be in order to like,
Well, the tricky part with that is that we get a quote now, by the time every gets approved, it may increase in your, whatever it may be, you know what I'm saying? I know that we can get J3's, who is a CES vendor that has done the roofs before, to look at the junior high roof, and I'll tell you the truth, I think that would be the route to go, initially, is to focus on that and see if the 4.9 covers that. So then, once we get that, then it frees you up, so you qualify for the bigger dollars, like he's saying, and then that's where you would start looking at your HVACs for high school and junior high. You have to use some strategy on what it is that you're gonna do. And right now, what I think is a priority is gonna be that roof that needs to get done, so we can get J3, to get us some quote on how much it would take, to get that done, to see how close it comes to being the $4.9 million or whatever it would be. And then if we have monies left over, then you start looking at a smaller project to get that done. The goal is to get you to bond capacity to free up the big bucks, okay? So saying that you want an HVAC system and the roof with a 4.9 probably isn't realistic, because the roof itself might be that. But J3, we could definitely ask them to give us a quote, how much they think it would, to give it a complete overhaul, and then go from there. And then if all that, the goal is to use up all that money first, so that it'll free up the rest of the money, and then you can go for the bigger things.
okay.
But I'll get Tim to get a hold of Tim, because I think J3 is Tim also, and see what an estimate would be for the junior high roof,
Okay.
and see how close we are to the 4.9.
I think that would be good, and that way we at least have a ballpark idea of like how much is this all gonna cost,
What we
and
can
then,
do.
and then we'll move from there. Thank you.
No project for them, if we have some left over, concrete in the back of the junior high, 'cause if it snows, it rains, or anything right there leading to the baseball field or anything like that, it's pretty rough.
All right, see,
And he's always cold, so.
another good idea, okay?
Well, okay, we're moving on to, items suggested for future board meetings.
Thank you, Brad, thank you, Chris.
Yes, thank you
Thank
guys,
y'all so much.
You're welcome. Good night.
and good night.
I'm sure there will be things within the month that come up as far as the certificate search goes. Sure, something there.
So, I'm sure that Ms. Leal will be back, so if you guys have anything, just reach out to one of us, and we'll, when we work in the agenda, we'll get them on.
Man, I had something, I can't think of it right
Go talk to
now.
Mr. Howard,
In it, write it down.
go talk to Mr. Howard, maybe you and him can remember what he forgot. you forgot.
Maybe. Dang it. I can't think of it.
Like I said, call me anytime, if you come up with something, let me know. I'll get together with, Ms. Leal, or maybe with, Mr. Barnes, and we'll get it figured out.
Thank you.
Okay. Motion to adjourn.
Mr. Vice President, I make a motion that we adjourn.
Motion's been made and seconded to adjourn, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Meeting is adjourned.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.